Welcome to the conversation, Mother.
Thank you.
This is kind of an episode that I have been contemplating for a while. For most of you that know me, know that this is my mother, Helena.
Hi.
Would you like to tell them a few things about yourself, or?
Sure. My name is Lena. I'm Lydia's mom. I have a son also, a little older than her. I have three grandkids that are my life, and I've been married for many, many, many years. 31 to be exact.
Don't touch it. Don't even look at it.
So, some questions that I kind of wanted to ask you. Not that I wrote them down or anything because I wasn't prepared for
So you're
this.
just going to put me on the spot?
I kind of am, yeah.
Okay.
It's basically, what do you say is the most difficult part of, being in a marriage that is over 30 years technically, because it's been a long time. Well, what do you say is the most difficult thing that you face on a daily basis, monthly basis, whatever the case may be, but what is one of the most difficult things?
I think the most difficult thing in any marriage, it doesn't matter if it's the beginning or after 30 years, it's a clash of personalities. It's you have to adapt. It doesn't mean you have to agree with the other person all the time,
Hmm.
but you also have to pick your battles. You have to know when to push and when to just let go and say, you know what, forget it. I just let it go. So I think personalities, it's probably you have to learn to live with that because I am a strong believer that people don't change for you and you don't change for no one else but yourself. So you're not going to change that person. So if you don't learn to adapt to their personality, then it's not going to work.
Life lesson.
Yeah.
One of the things that you've always taught me was, if they don't change now, they're never gonna change for you. So
Yes. No.
yeah.
And I think if I want to change, I have to change for myself, not for your dad or you or anyone else. And I think that people go into marriage thinking they're going to change people.
Hmm.
They're going to change who they are, what they're going to become. And that doesn't happen. People
Yeah.
will not change unless they want to change for themselves.
Hmm.
And you also don't want to change that person because then they become someone that you did not fall
You
in
didn't
love
fall
with.
in love with, yeah.
So I don't think it works out.
Okay.
Anything
um,
else you want to put on the spot?
no, I mean, we're just going
Yes.
with the flow here, like we
Yes.
usually do with our conversations. It's just a little bit more awkward because we have cameras, all around us now. So,
Yeah.
um, but technically iPhones, okay, guys.
Yeah. Technically iPhones. Yeah.
Technically, but yeah, I just kind of wanted us to have one of our casual conversations because, you're one of the people that obviously I confide in and I come to with anything. And whenever I have, doubt or when I need clarification on something, you're kind of the person that I result to. So I kind of just wanted to share our relationship with other mothers and, with other people who have a great relationship with their mother or they don't, and
Or they
how
don't. I hope
they
they do,
can
but yes.
and
Yes.
how they can have a great relationship with their mom
Yes.
kind of.
I've
um
known both. Some people that have great relationships like we do, and then some people that, oh no, we're not friends, we're mother and daughter, which I don't understand that, but there are
yeah,
there are some out there.
I mean, I don't think me and you ever had like we've never had like a platonic relationship where it was like, yeah, that's my mom. Like yeah, that's my mother, but like that's like like she knows me, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not like, oh, whatever, that's my mom, like, you know
I
what I mean?
think it's beautiful though, but
It is.
and I always go back to my mother,
Yeah.
which, she's not with us anymore. But even though she was old, I always felt like I had that relationship with her.
Yeah.
She was the one, like, she was so cool for her age. Now that I think about it, I go back, I'm like, oh my God,
Mhm.
she was
Grandma was
very,
definitely really cool
right?
for
She
her
was
age.
very cool for her age. And she was the one person always pushing us to do better, to be better. And to me, it was
And just
always,
never taking life so seriously. Like
yes.
I
And
feel
she
like
also,
anything that would happen, regardless of, family problems, money
mm-hmm,
problems, um, love problems, even though I never really seen her argue with grandpa, to be honest.
no,
But
never.
like anything that she was going through, nobody would know because it's
Mm,
like
Yeah.
She comes over, she cooks, she cleans, she makes us laugh.
Mhm.
No, don't stress about it. It was always
Yeah,
like
she was
life's a
just
breeze,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. And she worked so hard since she was 6 years old. She had to provide for her brothers and sisters, and I don't know how she became like that though. But she wasn't. She was the one
She
person
was
that
always a giver though.
always a giver,
Always a
and
giver.
she's the one person that
She
always
done
taught
breastfed
me
the whole village.
you don't take shit from no one. You don't let anyone put you down. Your head is always up, and especially when it came to men, she was she had also the greatest relationship in this world. So
Yeah.
she would not accept anyone taking crap from any man because she never did.
She never did.
So she always held her head up high and like, I am worth it, and you're gonna work for me. We're gonna work together, but I'm up here. So, she always made it seem
Yeah.
like she was up there.
She did.
And that's a great lesson that I got from her, I think.
On how to be treated by a man.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I definitely got that lesson from grandpa, but one of the things that I had learned from grandma was not to take discredit you
No,
because you've
no.
also taught me some things, but I had to say one of the major things was always cleaning and cooking and
Oh
and,
yeah.
and laundry, like just
Mhm.
women things that back then was socially required by a woman, right? Like how
Mhm.
to take care of a household. Like
Yeah.
that's one thing that grandma definitely
Oh yeah, because she
taught me.
was yeah.
It
Because
was
when it
like,
came to
okay,
that,
Lydia, you're gonna clean your room, you're gonna do this. This is how you do your laundry.
mhm.
Oh, you're hungry? Okay, let me teach you how to
I
make a salad. Even if it
yes.
wasn't like touching the stove yet, she always had me like, learning how to do
And look how
certain
much you
things.
learn and how much you
Yeah,
take after her.
most definitely.
Yeah. Yeah,
Definitely.
that's not for me.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I've learned I've learned
I don't even think, guys, this is so funny. My mother never did my hair. Never
no,
did my hair.
yes, no.
Never. And you guys are going to laugh
I
at
mean,
this.
no, I brushed it. I did a ponytail, but that was it.
That was
it.
it. I've
That
always
was
had
it. Yes.
one hairstyle. Like you never and you
No.
would get so frustrated. I remember you getting frustrated, and
Yeah,
I would
cause
move, and you'd hit me with the brush like it's my fault, and I'm just like, "What's going on? Like it's not
yeah,
that complicated."
that was.
And that I don't even know where I think it was YouTube where I learned how to do like hair and stuff. But
I think, and also Titi Mena might be a little
Titi
because
Mena helped me with like my braids.
yeah, because
She
she's
definitely taught me how to
okay because
braid.
she was the one that did my hair when I was young because
Yeah,
she's my older sister. And I was never into hair, makeup,
none of
none
it.
of that.
None of
So
it.
I had no clue what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like putting on makeup. Titi Men always did it for me when I went out when I was young.
Yes, she
And then
did.
I got married to a man that hates makeup, so I never really had to learn. So that's a conversation I cannot have with you because I don't know
Yeah,
anything
no,
about
you
it.
never, and that's the thing. Like female wise, I don't think I had ever had that type of how do I say that influence in my life, right?
No, yeah,
Like
definitely no.
self care. Let's say self care. Self
Yeah,
care.
no,
You never cared about lotion,
no,
facial,
no,
what do you call it? Detoxing. There was
no,
nothing like
no masks,
no
no
nothing,
nothing.
nothing. But yet you and grandma's skin was like the most flawless, softest skin ever. Like I remember
Yeah,
grandma's
grandmas.
skin
Yeah.
was like porcelain. Like it was
Uh
just
huh.
so soft,
Yes.
so soft to the touch. And oh, grandma, what do you do in the morning? Lotion.
Yeah.
Like not like
Nothing.
some Nivea.
No,
Like
she
it was
washed.
never.
Yeah,
It
she
was
washed
just
her
wash,
face,
and that
and
was it.
yeah, it's true. And she had beautiful skin,
Beautiful skin.
and she was. I don't know. It's not like they used sunscreen back in the day,
Yeah.
and she was always out there working hard, like catching
Always
sun.
in the sun.
Yeah, and I don't know, but she did have beautiful skin
Oh,
somehow.
that's another thing she taught me. She definitely taught me how to peel corn
Oh, yeah.
and take care of corn.
Mhm. Well,
Just harvesting, taking care of
because that's
corn,
what she did.
everything.
That's what she
Yep,
did.
I definitely
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
That was some good memories there.
Yeah. She was interesting.
Yeah, but grandpa was mainly the one who was told kind of taught me about the love life and the relationships. Kind of like, oh yeah, well, how do you say it? Um sai pela porta, dois entram pela
La
janela.
Janela, yes,
Yeah, so
yes.
in case you guys don't translate that, that's one leaves through the door and two come in through the window. So don't even worry about
Yeah,
it.
don't cry about
Don't
it
cry
because there's a
about it.
lot of men out there. Basically, that's what he was trying to tell you.
Yeah.
And because I also believe that grandpa, it's not that he doesn't see men these days stepping up to the plate like they should.
Yeah.
And I think for him is like, oh my God, like sometimes I'm like, they can't find anyone special because there's no one special out there,
Yeah.
which is a little sad when you put it that way, but
I had just tweeted something the other day, and it was like, oh, you guys are all the same person in the different body. It's
hmm
like everybody's starting to have the same type of look on relationships, and
yeah, which is
like these women turn around and they're like, oh, we don't need men, blah blah blah, screw these guys, and then like men turn around like, oh, fuck these bitches, you know what I mean? Like it's
yes.
just like, okay, why are we tearing each other apart? You know what I
I
mean? Like hold on, let's pull it together, because this is not something that was done before, like, you know,
no,
especially
but
back in your day,
back
right?
in
Like
my
how
day,
was it
no.
dating? Like,
Dating was wonderful because there was no social media.
yeah.
So it was wonderful because you had to go out there, you had to go meet people face to
Hmm.
face. You had to have a conversation with people
Mutual
face to face.
friends you had to have,
Yes,
yeah.
you went out, you danced, and listen, there was
It
no,
wasn't through a DM.
no, exactly, no DM, no let's
Yeah.
swipe left, swipe right, whatever you guys do, none of that stuff.
Yeah.
And but you went out, you
Hmm.
met people, you talked, and you
Yeah.
know what? If after that conversation nothing happened, then it's okay because you went out again the next week and you
And you
did
had a
all over
great
again
time,
until
yeah.
you find the person that. And listen, a lot of the couples that I know from back in the day are. It's not like they're still together. Some of them are divorced, but some of them
It
are still
happens.
together.
Hmm.
It happens. But I think we did take the time to talk, to know each other, to do things together.
Yeah.
Where I feel like today you guys get robbed of a lot of experiences because of freaking social media, because which is
Yeah.
amazing, but at the same time, it's like when I go out to dinner with dad, we'll sit at the table and we'll look around us. And
Hmm.
even people, close to our age do it. You see these couples having dinner out and they are on their phone instead of
Instead of
talking to
having a
each other, having a
communication, yeah.
conversation, talk about their day, their kids, their grandkids, whatever. They're
Hmm.
on the phone, going through social media, sitting in front of their other half.
Instead of
And
talking.
we'll just me and dad will look at each other like, why would you just go out
What's the
and
point of
what's
coming?
the
Yeah.
point? Because for us going out and it's like
It's the intimacy. It's the, you know,
exactly yes, and you don't get interrupted by this one or that one, so you could actually sit and talk about certain things,
yeah.
just you and him. And then these couples just they're like on their phone while they're having a dinner, and I'm like, I don't know, that kind of defeats the purpose for me.
Yeah. No,
But I
I
do think that it's
definitely,
harder for you guys with the social media, and I feel like you guys got to compete for everything. And then maybe I think that social media is okay, but sometimes maybe I think people put too much out there.
yeah,
I don't know, like it's
oversharing. But
yeah,
even people that are your age,
oversharing. They do
on,
that.
oh my gosh,
Yes,
like I have seen, like, you know, your age group go on Facebook and just,
go on a
woo,
rant
I
or
know their
just
whole
talk.
schedule from a Monday through
Yes,
Friday just
yes,
because I like their Facebook, you know,
and
like
things that
that's kind of
happen, and they
scary.
just
Like, I don't know, that's scary.
yeah, they just put the whole story down. Like, oh my God, everyone knows your business. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't get that, and I know I understand people my age might be a little bored sometimes, but get a hobby. or I don't know, do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And I'm not I like to see things once in a while, but I don't really post anything. I don't really, and I know people, oh, you don't even put a like, or like people my age will
Yeah.
say that. Oh, you don't even put a like. You
Oh,
see
you
my,
saw my post, but you didn't even like
you didn't
it.
like it, or you didn't comment on it, or
Oh yeah. Hmm.
something. That's why most of the times I prefer to either, watch a movie or read a book or
Yeah. It's just a lot
because
more beneficial at that
I
point.
don't want to know about your life in a way. It would
Yeah.
be okay if you post things like a nice quote, maybe somebody's
Yeah.
going through something and they need to hear certain words. Okay, that's fine. Or
Hmm.
you know there's an event happening, so you post it so people know and people will go,
Hmm.
things like that. And I don't know, it just sometimes I think it's a little over sharing.
Oversharing. Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean,
tough
really,
for you guys.
when I post on social media, I have to say it's mostly um like I'll share a few words, um or
Sometimes like you do a video like you did all your paintings, which I
yeah,
thought,
I'll do
okay,
creative videos.
yes, that's interesting,
I
I
just
think.
recently started getting into the reels, like starting to create content of things that I do. Like,
Uh-huh.
if you guys don't know, like I've been doing this for a while. Like my mom will
Yeah,
tell you, I'll pull a
yeah.
project up out of thin air and it'll be
Out
done
of
within 3 hours.
nowhere, she wakes up with that thing in her mind,
It's
and
just,
that's it.
yeah, like I just see something and I'm like, all right, I got to do this, like, and I do it. But I never really recorded it. Like
Yeah.
I don't record the process. I don't tell people exactly what I do, but I just do it. Like even when we had remodeled the basement, I was like,
Mhm.
all right, this is what's gonna happen. You guys are gonna see a before and after. But I didn't kind of make reels
Yeah,
every day, like telling you the
exactly.
process. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's just a lot, but like I'm trying to
But I think that's interesting, like
manage.
to teach people that. See, that's
Right, like
that's something.
how
Yeah.
dad taught me how to cut the drywall and be careful with the studs and just certain things like that
Yeah.
I was taught, and a lot of people don't see women doing construction, which I think is great.
Yeah, and there's
But now
things.
there's like more of it coming up,
Yeah.
like home
Yeah.
improvements, like even little small things. So
Mhm.
I think
I think
I'm
you know a
starting to
lot of
turn my
stuff.
social media into something else where it's more beneficial for me and kind of showcases more of who I am instead of
Mhm.
just taking pictures of my ass that I love to do. But but it's
Yeah, we
like
know.
but it's like occasional mirror pose. But
Yes. Yes.
I
And
love
there's
to
nothing wrong with it. You
yeah,
guys are young, and that's
yeah, and
there's
it's also
nothing.
it just
Yeah.
makes me feel confident,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I'll put it out there. I
Definitely.
don't really care as long as it's not naked. But
Yeah.
um, the main thing that I'm trying to turn my social media to is like more of like a teaching environment. And I should, like, the last two reels that I posted had music, but I think I'm gonna repost them and make it with like a voiceover
Oh,
kind of
okay.
showing and telling the
What you doing?
steps and what I
Oh, I
did, and
see.
like
Okay.
with the bifinhos
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
like people
Yeah,
want to know
see?
how I made that, and
Yeah.
I was just like, you can't know yet, it's a secret
Yeah.
ingredient. But hopefully eventually I'll put one out there with the directions. But I definitely agree with the social media thing. I think sometimes it's a little overbearing for some.
Yeah. And I think people lose a lot of time on it. And I think sometimes you miss the connection with someone because you're on your phone.
You're on your phone.
Because I see it happening all the time. People walk down the street. Back then, men used to look up and try to look at a beautiful woman and whistle or say something.
Oh no, they still
Now,
do.
yeah, but now,
Maybe cat calling.
mm,
Yeah. Like,
now,
damn, shawty, you fine.
now you guys are on your phones, and someone your better half could be walking by. You guys don't see it because
Yeah.
you're like this. So yeah, but I don't think you're gonna change that.
No, I mean, I think it's gonna be very hard as a whole to
Hmm.
change that. Like for a lot of people,
But I do think if people try to do it, a lot of things could change in their life.
oh, definitely, things have changed in my life. Like,
Exactly. If you
I
let
gotta
go
say
of
that
that,
I was pretty attached to social media before, but like, and not even attached where it's like a post every day or this and
yeah,
that, but
yeah,
it was just like the scrolling.
the
It
scrolling,
was
yeah,
that scrolling, and I was like, oh my god, I just literally just wasted 20 minutes of my time scrolling.
yeah,
I could have finished. I could have crocheted. I could have did another art piece. Like I could have helped Haven with her,
yes,
and I'm just over here like
yeah,
I'm like, no, hell
yeah,
no.
yeah,
And I like cut my time. Like I'm gonna stop scroll. I'm gonna give myself 3 scrolls at max. If I that's it, I'm done.
yeah.
Because it was just so time consuming and
It
it's
is
not
time
benefiting
consuming,
me.
I think. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely and everything has that now. The scrolling, like before, it was just TikTok. Now it's on Instagram, Facebook. Like everybody has those
Everything.
reels,
Yes.
and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Because see, once something comes out and people like it, then
Yeah.
everyone is gonna start doing it.
I mean, the same thing with Instagram. They have these little notes that you could post up daily. And now I just went on Messenger. I never go on Facebook, so I went on Messenger the other day. Um and they have the same thing. They put up notes. I'm like, "Yo, everything is just
Really?
yeah,
I didn't know
everybody's just
that.
taking everybody's steez." I'm like, "This is crazy."
Yeah, I didn't know that. But anyway. Oh.
Okay, so let's put social media aside for a minute and let's talk about we talked about this earlier today, where I had acknowledged you, and everything that you had went through with me.
Mhm.
um, because I experience it with Haven now. Um, So just like a little backstory for everybody that's watching. I didn't give my mother a hard time. Like I didn't, she told me to do that. Like it wasn't. I didn't give her a hard
No,
time as far as like in the house or her telling me to do something. My giving her a hard time was me being very vocal about my emotions everywhere.
not just
Not
your
just emotions,
emotions.
but just
Yes.
like what I thought. It was just like
Yeah.
I remember even
You were very opinionated.
very
Very
opinionated even as
opinionated.
a 3-year-old. I remember like it's just like
Mhm.
things used to come to my head and people would look at my mother for things that I would say, but it
Mhm.
wasn't thoughts that she put there. It was things that were created in my head
Yeah.
and I needed to know the answer. Like
I had to defend myself as a mother all the time.
I know how you feel now
Yeah.
because Haven says the same thing.
But as experienced now, I would say let it go.
And
Don't
that's what
do
I did.
don't do what
Because
I
what am I
did.
supposed to do?
Don't do what I did.
I can't.
Like if I could go back,
Yeah.
into what happened between us, and mainly, and just so you guys also know, it was mainly because when it came to my side of the family, everything was okay.
Yeah.
And then when it came to that side of the family, they took it to heart because they didn't know you
Mhm.
in a way because you didn't spend as much time with them, and they thought that you were just saying that because I was talking about that or I told you to say that. They
Mhm.
didn't know that that's who you were.
Like, oh, this
So
is
every
her
time we left
creating
the
her own
house, I
thing.
used to say, please, Lydia, please don't say anything. Honey, please, whatever they say, just stay quiet, which meant just say whatever you say anyway. But now, see, even now I feel bad that I actually told you to quiet
To not
down.
say anything.
Yes, if I had to do it all over again, I would not do that to you. And
It's
that's why I'm
okay. I
saying,
mean,
don't, I know.
I forgive you because I never
Yeah,
listened
you
to you
never listen.
anyway.
Yes. But like, I would say, don't do that to Haven because
Oh
I
my
did it
god.
to you. And
But like it depends. Okay, so I told you the story earlier, but I'm gonna tell you again because the camera didn't hear. But the other day I had went to Applebee's and with Haven, and she points at the menu and she sees this fruity drink. Obviously, fruity drinks at Applebee's, you know that is alcohol. So I'm like, no, Haven, that's liquor. That's adult juice. You can't have that. She goes, Mommy, but I love liquor. And I'm like, what the fuck did I just do? I'm like, girl, you have never had liquor in your life. And then everybody's looking at me and I'm like, holy shit, they're probably thinking I give my daughter liquor. Like, what the
it
fuck?
probably
How does a
did.
4-year-old know what the word liquor means? And I'm like, oh my god. I'm just looking around, everybody's laughing. I'm like, you know what, let's just take the joke. I'm like, even you're getting apple juice and called it a day. Like,
Yeah.
but it was just like in the moment, I'm like, damn, did she just call me out like that?
She does. Yes, and she will. And
Holy crap.
that's yeah, that's gonna happen more times, just so
Oh
you know.
god.
Pray be prayer because she's gonna say whatever she wants. But she's also very opinionated.
She is very she's 10 times more
I
opinionated than I
think
am.
so too. I think you're
Because
gonna
me, I still hesitated on confronting an adult
yeah,
because of,
she does.
she does not
No.
hesitate.
No.
Like, even with dad.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like,
Yeah.
the way she'll speak to, or
Or
Philip, my
Philip.
brother. It's
Hmm.
like, oh, what did she call him the other day? Oh no, no. She was
No.
like, "You're not coming to my birthday party."
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
was like, "What do you mean I'm not coming to your birthday party? Fine, you're not getting any presents." She was like, "That's fine. I don't need your presents.
Yeah.
Like, you're not
Yeah.
coming to my birthday party."
Because he annoyed her.
Because he annoyed
Yeah.
her. And it was like,
And like
I, me at 25, I would make that decision.
like
But at 4 years old, I'm
he,
like,
so
where does she
was
get
it on
this stuff?
Saturday that we were in the sunroom, they were dancing, blah blah blah, and then dad called Philip old.
Uh huh.
So yesterday dad went up to Haven and goes, Haven, give me a kiss. Haven, give me a hug. She goes, no, I'm not kissing you because you call my padrinho old. And she had told him, if you call him old, I'm not gonna kiss you again. Remember when
Uh
she said
huh.
it to
She
him?
did.
She
And she
remembered,
remembered.
and she actually told him, I'm not gonna kiss you because you call Padrino
And there goes
old.
my 4-year-old daughter already holding grudges.
Yeah. Well, I guess she sticks to her word because she
She
had
did.
told him that she
Yeah.
would not kiss him if he kept calling him old, and he kept calling. So she said no. I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing.
No, I don't think it's a bad thing, and it just shows me how great her memory is. But it's
Yeah,
like,
because she remembered the next day. Who would have think she would have remembered that? She did.
you'd be surprised how much she remembers.
But yeah, but she's gonna call you out on things.
It already happens.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just turn around and just make this face because
Yeah.
it's like you can't yell at her because she's right.
I know.
But like at the
Yeah.
same time, I'm like, damn, I gotta put my foot down because
See?
I gotta get some
But you
respect.
see, but see where I made a mistake too was if I told you don't say anything or please, please, and you were to say something, I the whole way back home I used to yell at you and scream and like, I told you not to say anything, now, you caused me
I
these
mean, to be
problems.
honest, it never really bothered me that you yelled at me because I'm like, bitch, I did this for you.
I know, and
Like
listen,
I
and I have
remember.
to say, you
Let's
always,
be a little specific because they don't know what we're talking about specifically.
yeah,
But this was mainly, if you don't mind, I'm gonna share your kind of
no,
dynamic.
yeah,
So, my father's family never kind of approved of my mother. So my mother always felt like she needed to prove herself. So whenever we'd go to grandparents' house, it'd be, like, don't say this, don't say that, be proper, use manners, say please, say thank you. Don't let them know that I let you free willingly just walk around the house. You know what I mean? Like it was just this
yeah,
thing of like,
yeah,
oh, you have to be very,
yeah. At
formal. And
home we were,
they were very traditional, like
yeah,
very, So, and my mom's kind of like a free bird. She's just like she was raised in a different type of environment. So, whenever we'd go over there, we'd get the spiel, and that's the spiel that she was talking about.
hmm
So one day, me being who I am, my grandmother at the time did not have a great relationship with my mother. And I don't know why, till this day, I still don't know why, the animosity was there. Um, but, as nosy as I was, I always heard conversations from my parents talking, obviously they didn't have the conversations in front of me, but, you do a little at the door, or,
which
just,
you did all the
yeah,
time.
I was just a
Yeah,
nosy little child.
yes,
So,
yes.
so I would always listen into things and kind of, make my own, my brain starts doing those calculations and stuff. And I'm just like, okay, what's going on? We got to find out what's the problem. Boom, we're sitting at the dinner table, and I turn to grandma. Everybody's silent too. That's the food was good as fuck. That's how you know that the food was good because everybody was just silent as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Who bombs drops? I bomb drop.
Lydia.
I look straight at grandma. I'm like, Avó, por que tu não gostas de minha mãe? And for all of you that don't know what the fuck that means, grandma, why don't you like my mother, right? Um, Little did I know, my grandma was shooketh, right? She's like, huh. She looked straight at my mother like my mother
Mm-hmm.
planned for me to say this. Like my
Mm-hmm.
mom was just as shooketh as she was.
Yes.
Everybody just stood silent, and I was like, what did I do? I don't understand. I just asked the question, right? Like, can it get answered? Why don't you like my mother? How old was I? I was probably like 6.
6 or 7. You were young, and that, yeah,
I was a
and
toddler, but I wasn't too much of it. Like I wasn't Haven's age,
now
but I
you were
was,
older than Haven.
yeah.
You were older than Haven, and yeah, when that conversation came up, I was like shocked. I didn't know what to say, what to do, where
You're
to
like, where the
look.
fuck did she get this from?
And I think I remember where you got that from.
Yeah.
You were upset because grandma stopped coming here, stopped
Oh, that's
calling,
very true. Yeah.
and
I started asking you questions.
yes,
Yeah.
and then I was one thing that I've never told they're mean to me, or
No.
they don't like me, or you just you know things. I mean, you see
And I
things.
also caught on. Like we would
Y-
always go over there, and sometimes you wouldn't come with us, and I'm like, why isn't mom coming? And
yes,
it
yes,
was just certain things that I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah,
And
and you
then
didn't understand it, and I have to say that you always defended me, like as much as you love your grandmas, because you do.
yeah, because you always got attacked for shit that we did. Like, because
Yes,
you were like the next generation of a free bird parent. Like,
yeah,
I feel like
and I got.
your parents and dad's parents were very like strict and
Mm-hmm.
not so strict, but like, okay, you're either
Different.
going to work, you're going to school, you're doing this, you're doing that. Like, there's
Yeah.
no this, there's no that. Whereas you would let me and Philip, like you and dad let me and Philip, explore, like try
Explore.
sports. If we
Yes.
wanted to go to school, we went to school. You let Philip go to the Navy, which a lot of parents, Portuguese parents at least, I don't see allowing their children.
I because I think when it came to and again, there's no book. You're a mother now. There's no book that
There's no
teaches
book.
anything. You go by what you
Yeah,
know, by
every
how you
child is
were
different.
raised. But I did get criticized a lot of how I raised you, how much freedom I
Yeah.
gave you, how
And I
much freedom I
definitely
gave
saw
your
that.
brother. Yes, I got pointed the finger many, many times.
Yeah.
When it comes to that, I do not regret a thing.
Yeah.
Still today.
And that's also like a need of like, at least for me, how I always felt the need to protect you, because I was just like,
Yeah, you
bitch,
were.
don't come for my mother,
Yes,
because you
very.
start coming for my mother, then she gonna cut off my freedom, and that ain't gonna happen.
Yes,
Like,
you were always, since you were little, very protective when it
yeah,
came to them because you knew that they didn't like me, and you always,
yeah.
yeah. And I do think sometimes that
And it's also things that I didn't understand. I was a child. The
because it
child doesn't
was,
understand, like we're the most purest people out of all people. So like,
yes,
we're like, wait, why are you guys arguing?
yeah,
Why is that even an issue? You know what I mean? Like,
exactly, yes,
what is going on? Like, why is this happening? And even till this day, like, we kind of need to go back to our childish roots, where we go and think about, like, why are we so angry at this?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. You're
and
right.
that was just something that I didn't understand
You
with
didn't, and you didn't like
grandma,
it.
and
You
I
didn't like
hated
it,
it because I always wanted
which,
us,
yeah,
as a unit. I
united and
love big family. I love
yes,
when we all
yes,
got together,
yes.
like your side, dad's side. Like when we used to throw barbecues and
Mm-hmm.
everybody used to
Everyone
come.
used, yes,
Oh
yes,
my god, that
yeah.
was amazing. I can still remember that. Grandma chugging a beer. Like what?
Uh-huh,
Like
yes.
that's great memories. Like I've
It
never
is.
seen my grandmother chug a beer
It is.
till the
It
day
is
that all of
great
us were in the
memories.
backyard.
Yeah. Listen, and not for nothing, but we did see when you look back at your childhood, and probably our kids, your kids now won't have that, but back in the day, I don't know how we did it, but we had barbecues all the
All the
time.
time, yeah.
And it was not like a few people, it was always
It
a
was a
lot of
lot.
people. I tell dad to this day, like, I don't know how we did it. We didn't make a lot of money. We usually had a lot of people in that backyard.
Mhm.
We had no pool back then.
Mhm.
I don't know why everyone just came over. We used to drink, eat, play cards. You guys used to run around in the backyard. And
Mhm.
I don't know, listen, people that we don't talk to anymore, that we haven't seen in a long time. And one of the things that I was actually talking about it too was like, we've helped so many people,
Mhm.
throughout our life, me and dad being married for
Yeah,
all
you
these
guys
years.
definitely put a hand in for a
We've
lot.
helped people in all kind of ways. And some of these people don't talk to us today,
Mhm.
which I made peace with that, and I think Dad did too. But today I look back and I'm like, we have great moments. And you know what? When we help people and then people kind of fucked you in the ass at the end,
Yeah.
like, whatever, me and Dad always said, you know what? We're still going to help people. No matter what happens, we're going to help people because this is who we are. And those people that we helped and then they just stabbed us in the back
Yeah.
did not stop that from happening again. We still help people no matter who you were, where you came from.
Yeah.
And that didn't change us. But I do miss sometimes, having all that confusion in the back. Like it
Yeah.
was just people just walked up the driveway. It's like, oh my God.
Hey, what's
When
happening, Atlanta? Like,
Yeah, when you look back, it's like, oh my
yeah.
God, it was like 30 people. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, where did all these people come from? It's just people that we knew.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm doing a barbecue. There was no party. Like there was no celebration of
Yeah, just come
birthday.
by.
Yeah, it was just for no reason. I think you made it. I don't know. I think you guys did a great
We
job, man.
definitely had great memories, and
Yeah.
this block alone, where we
Mhm.
lived, it was a lot of kids.
A
Like,
lot of kids.
I mean, I was the only
You
girl
were
on
the
the
only
block,
girl. I
but
know. I
I
know.
also am thankful for that, because like I grew up a bunch of, around a bunch of guys, where it was like
Mm.
I learned how to play football, baseball, basketball. Like
Everything.
I learned all my sports. I was
Mhm.
like roughed up as a girl, which
You
I
were
kind of
roughed up.
appreciate, because I
Yeah.
never really was a doll playing girl.
And then they always had your back too, which was
Yeah,
amazing.
they
Which was
did.
amazing.
I had the squad.
Yeah. But which see, it's not gonna happen to these little kids
No,
anymore.
yeah.
It was
Now it's
different.
hard. It's just everybody used to play outside. I
Yeah.
remember they used to close off the streets so we could
Yeah.
play some football in the
Uh-huh.
streets. It
And
was just
basketball.
different. Basketball.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that happening no more. We used to pull the with a Tommy and Nick's
Uh-huh.
basketball hoop
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Everybody used to be playing on the street.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the street lights came on maybe a little bit more, and then everybody inside.
Yeah. Some lamps were broken in the
Some
street.
lamps were broken. I don't think Dad will ever forgive Tommy for that one. Now we got plans for there for the rest of
For
time.
the yes, yes. But
But
but even the bulbs at the end of the street, remember when you guys used to
oh,
play?
with the football and the baseball, yeah.
And the baseball broke a few
Shh, Ma,
too.
the city can't know about that one.
Well, it's okay if we gotta pay for it, we'll pay for it. But I'm just saying, you guys had some great moments. I think
Yeah. There it's
your
definitely different now.
generation,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
your
I
generation,
would say I was thankful for the generation I grew up in
yeah.
because if I was growing up in this generation now, I'd probably be slitting my wrists. I'd be one of those.
Oh my God, don't say that.
I'm just saying, like, like
Yeah,
just not leaving the house, the
yeah.
iPads, the no physical
But but you
activity.
see, but these kids don't know any better either. So
Yeah.
it's like,
I mean, with Haven, I try. Like, I love taking her to the park. I love
and she
making,
loves going.
even going to like these little gymnastic places,
Hmm.
like when it gets cold, where she can't go to the park, but I still take her out.
Yeah,
And just seeing her socialize with random people
yeah.
is kind of
And
giving me like a little bit. Oh my gosh, she's just like me.
she's
Like,
just like you.
she makes
Yeah,
friends everywhere she goes. Like, it
she
doesn't
does.
matter.
I'm saying that's important that you do take her out, and
Yeah,
she's not glued to the iPad all the time.
yeah,
And don't get me wrong, I know times change, and it's also not as safe as it was in your day.
yeah.
Like you get so scared
Now you
because
have a lot of human trafficking, kids
that, yes,
disappearing, and I think that's definitely a big thing on
it is a
why
big thing because I think parents, in a way,
we're very protective, more protective
more
now.
protective because the danger is out there, and
Yeah,
and it just, it's not that it didn't exist back then. It didn't exist as much, and it was not publicized as much. So,
yeah, and it
like, we
wasn't.
let you run kind of free, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But now I would be scared too
like you
because,
used to let me take the light rail at 12
hmm,
years old.
yeah,
Me letting Haven take the 12 year the light rail at
you'd
12 years
freak
old
out.
right
You will
now?
freak
No,
out. You
I
can't.
definitely not.
Yeah,
No,
I know
I
your
cannot.
brother started at 10. He was 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, you always let Philip do things sooner, but whatever.
Well, he's a boy.
You see, and then there goes that shit. I used to hate when you used to say that. Oh, but he's a guy. He's a boy.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
so what?
because I
I'm
was,
a girl. I know jujitsu. Like, I used to say all everything just to
yeah,
get what
but
I wanted.
it's different because they target girls more than boys.
Yeah,
It
that's
is
very true. But I
so.
didn't understand that as a
I
12-year
know,
old girl. You know,
but I see.
it's like, but why can't I
I
do
got
it?
the finger pointed so many times because I let him be free at 10 years old. Like
Mhm.
I used to give him money to go on the light rail to Ironbound,
Mhm.
go hang out with his friends, come back up. Yeah, if it was today, I wouldn't have let him do it either.
Yeah,
It
hell
was
no.
just, yeah. See, times were different. But look, back in my day, it was supposed to be safe,
Mhm.
right? I used to go everywhere. I used to do everything. I started going out very young with my sisters.
Mhm.
I was like really young.
I know. You told me the story. Tell them how young. Please tell the crowd.
uh, well, I have two older sisters, so I started going out.
Briefly around what? Like 13?
Yeah, maybe even a little younger because there was different. You used to go out to these, all these towns at little um, parties. So my sisters used to go. I used to go with them.
Mhm.
And back in the day, my mom used to say, "Well, if you're not gonna do anything wrong, then she could go because all she wants to
Yeah.
do is dance and listen to music." So
Like, there's no reason why your little sister can't go if you're not doing anything
yeah, and Titi
crazy.
Mena was very protective
See,
too.
that's
So
grandma using reverse psychology. Like, oh, y'all
yeah,
not gonna be doing that? Okay,
mm,
let your little sister come and let's
yeah.
see what y'all gonna be
So
doing.
they were not pleased,
Did
but
you
they,
ever snitch on your big sisters to your mom?
no, no.
Oh,
My
okay.
big sister never did anything wrong.
Oh, okay.
It was
They
probably
never did anything like, oh, don't tell mom.
no,
Oh, okay.
no. Titi Mena is very,
She was the second mother.
yeah. She was a second
She
mother.
was the
She used to go. Everyone where we lived used to go out because of her. Because if you went with Titi Mena, that means you would be out of trouble. So parents would actually allow you to go out if you went with
right.
Titi Mena. Where I was not like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was more of a troublemaker.
Tell them more. I mean, you've told me a lot of stories that I'm like, is that my
Yeah.
mom? What the fuck?
Oh, it
Like
just
you
I
riding a
started
motorcycle at what age?
mm, 13,
Like I was like mind boggled.
13, 14.
13 riding
Yeah,
a motorcycle.
yeah.
Doing wheelies, fucking
Well,
going crazy.
but in my
And then
defense,
going clubbing after, like, and then driving your motorcycle home. Like, I'm like, what the
times
hell?
were different. And back then, I was 13, but I looked like I was 17.
Well, I mean, I can vouch for that because I was also very
So when I went out, no one knew my age.
Yeah.
And back in the day, also, if you were dating an older guy, it was not that big of a deal back in the day.
Yeah, now it is.
Now it is,
Now
but
they call them sugar daddies.
but back in the day, it was not that. So if I was 13 and I was dating a 17, 18-year-old, it was fine.
Yeah.
Today's world, they wouldn't be.
Oh my god, you're a pedophile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was safe. We knew how to go out, how to have fun. We
Yeah.
also used to go out in large groups. Even when we came to this
Mm-hmm.
country, you didn't go out alone. You went out in big groups. But back in the day, in my little hometown,
Mm-hmm.
when I was young, I was kidnapped, almost got raped.
Yeah, no.
So
You told me
things,
that
so
story.
things happen back in the day. See, but it's not something. By the time my dad found out that other girls had been kidnapped and raped, it was it was a big thing. Like that had already happened so many times when we heard of it, because there was no social media, no phones, no nothing. I mean, newspaper, but people are not going to put that on the newspaper
Right.
back then in those little towns.
It was all word of mouth.
Exactly. So even though, see, it was safe, you would never say that happened in there, and it did happen.
Yeah.
So that's why, in a way, I understand why parents these days prefer to keep the kids away
Yeah.
from other people, because it could happen, you know?
Yeah. I mean, especially nowadays, I feel like girls are just looking older and older as
Yes.
they, like, whew, like I am not ready for this at all. Like like you're saying how you were young and you looked older.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, how old was I when I had like a party in the club and I wasn't even 21? I remember that so like it was
Yep.
this lounge.
Lydia, I will never forget when we went out to eat, right? Me and you went out to eat, and you asked for an alcoholic beverage, and I was freaking out because you were not of age. You remember that?
Yeah.
That was on Route
You went.
22. You
It was a
remember?
bet, and you were like, "Don't you order that because they're not gonna give it to you. They're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna." I'm
They're
like,
gonna
"Ma,"
ask you for an ID.
I was like, "Ma, shut up. Watch this."
Mm-hmm.
Boom! I asked for it, and I got it. No ID, no nothing.
No
You
asking.
were like, "So this is what you do?"
Yeah, I was freaking out. Listen, and we always let you drink at home.
Yeah.
But to go out and ask and no one even asked you for an ID, that was freaking
It's scary,
scary.
right? I
Yes.
know, but it happened often. Like when I
Yes.
was,
And you said, yeah, I could do this all the time. And I'm like, what? Like, no one
yeah,
asked you for an ID?
nobody. I never got ID'd until I turned 21. Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy.
That's fucking ballistic. I literally, so I would go out like even to like the restaurants really because I never really went clubbing back then. It was
Yeah.
more like restaurants and just
Bars.
bars. Um
Yeah.
and just
Where were we? Was not DJF. Where was it?
I don't know. It was one of those franchise
It was
restaurants.
one on 22. I remember that clearly.
I don't
And I'm
remember.
sitting at the bar and I'm
Maybe
like,
it
oh
was
my God.
TGIF.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm scared because I'm.
No, it was TGIF.
Where's
It was
DJ?
TGIF before they renovate. No, they probably didn't renovate it, but it was to the left. We walk in, the bar was to the left, and we sat right on the corner.
We sit right on the bar.
Yep.
And I'm like, they're going to ask you for an ID. They're going to ask for an ID. Lydia. And they didn't ask you. They
Nope.
served you the drink, no questions
No
asked.
questions asked at all.
That freaked me out because then I'm thinking,
But see, that was my generation. The ID
yeah,
thing wasn't a like
yeah,
people remember Chop Fest.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
nobody fucking ID'd at
I
Chop Fest. I
know.
was 16 years old,
You were having
dunking
sangria.
fucking gallons of sangria.
Yes.
No IDs needed.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to Iberia because you guys definitely threw some
They sold the
amazing.
place.
I know.
But
Those
yeah,
were
but
some great Chop
yeah,
Fest though.
yeah.
But like, see, a lot of memories were made just like
Yeah.
being there, and those were kind of times that I wish we had back. But at the same time, if we had them back now,
It wouldn't be the same.
It wouldn't be the same.
No.
It wouldn't. People don't
No.
know how to control themselves now. I mean, they didn't know how to control themselves before either.
But it was just
it was more
a
of
different kind of fun, I think, back then.
It was a better crowd.
Yeah.
Better crowd, better fun.
Yeah.
Now we gotta protect ourselves more and more as the year goes by.
Yeah. That which, again, see, that's why I guess because parents don't have a handbook on how to raise their children,
Yeah.
but also as time changes and everything changes
People are
around.
becoming more paranoid as well. You
Yeah.
know, like with all of the sickness and all that stuff. Like I remember talking to people prior to COVID-19 and them not giving a shit about the flu and all this stuff. And then after this COVID-19, it's like, do you have
Everyone
your
changed.
vaccines? Oh my God. you guys get sick this year? Oh my god, your nose is stuffy. Did you go get checked? Like,
Mm.
it's like people that I would never like, never heard this from.
You hear it
Health is
from now.
automatically like one of their first priorities. They're wearing masks and gloves everywhere till this day.
Yeah,
It's like, damn.
I know. But you kind of, I think some people do stop living their life too
I mean,
because
yeah,
and again, we have to be careful with everything,
yeah,
you go out, wash your hands.
yeah. But
While
anything,
you're out there, put sanitize. As soon as you get home, wash your hands.
yeah,
Just take certain precautions. But I think people kind of also overdo it. Like,
yeah.
all right, calm down. Like,
Like
it is.
wearing a mask inside of your own car. I still
Oh,
to
you
this
still see it,
day,
right?
I still to this day
Yes.
don't understand it. I promise you, I don't understand. Even when COVID was around, I did not understand it.
Because it was one person inside the car and they have a mask inside the car.
It's not an Uber. It's literally one
Yes, one
person in the
person.
car. I was just like,
Yeah, I don't
how
get
are
that
you doing?
either.
You're suffocating yourself at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't understand. Like, I literally only wear a mask whenever it was required. Like, and
Yeah.
not bashing masks or anything or anybody that takes
Now,
this serious, because I
yes,
do know some people that lost their lives to COVID-19.
yes,
But
definitely. But
there
I,
are some people that it's just, I feel like, are so over exaggerated.
yeah,
And those are people
I
that
think
didn't
they're
give a
afraid.
fuck. Like, they would eat food off the floor prior to COVID-19. You know what I
And
mean?
now, yes,
And now it was like,
yeah,
oh, don't touch me. Like, the
yeah,
fuck you mean don't touch?
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
I think some people got to a point where mentally it kind of changed them a little bit too.
yeah, I mean, the pandemic wasn't, it
I
wasn't
You gotta be
a
cautious,
fun
but
time.
no,
It
it was
wasn't a fun time at
depressing.
all. Yeah,
It was depressing.
definitely learned a lot about myself through the pandemic. It was a
There was
lot.
some nice videos, you know, for the pandemic that kept the family going. But I think in reality, it kind of pulled everyone apart a little bit. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, kind of.
Because after COVID, and I also know going back, also, I know that since grandma left, nothing is the same.
Yeah, I mean, well, nothing's been the same since
Nothing
grandma
has
left.
been the same since
Fuck
she
the
left.
COVID shit. Since grandma left, this family hasn't been the same.
But
But
I thought we were trying to pull it together, but then COVID hit and it's like gone, completely gone.
yeah, I mean, we even tried after, but this has been really hard
It's been really
with
hard.
all the personalities involved. It's
Yeah.
easy when it's just two in a relationship, but now you're talking about a whole family over five personalities.
And this is a topic family could go on and on and
Yeah,
on
we
and on.
could we could go on and on about family, whether it's your side, whether it's dad's side, whether it's my side, whether
Well,
it's Philip's
you
side.
know,
I feel like it's just like,
I learned one thing with that is my family is my kids, my grandkids,
yeah,
and then the rest of the family comes along. But I have my family is this little circle that we have,
yeah,
which works amazing because we fight, we scream, we kiss, we love. We know how to handle
each
anything
other.
that comes our way.
Yeah, and I feel like as a family, like even just considering, leaving the kids aside, like me, you, Philip, and Dad, like
Yeah,
our immediate family, like I
yeah.
feel like we've also grown a lot on how we communicate.
Which is
Wow,
very
like
important.
yo, if I go back
I
10 years,
know.
like 10 years ago to 5 years ago, we did not communicate like this. Like, and I have
Mm-mm.
to, give ourselves a pat on the back for that, because it was
We've
we've
came
come
a
a
long way.
long
Yes,
way,
yeah.
a long
And
way. And
no
just
family is perfect.
no family's perfect.
And fighting is part of being a
Yeah,
family.
there's always fighting, but
But the important thing is
how
talk
you
about
come
things
back.
and solve them.
Yeah,
And don't let no one pull you apart. I
yeah.
think that's the most
I
important
think
thing.
we've always had like a really strong glue. I mean, whenever any of our individuals had a problem, like you, dad, me, or Philip, whenever we would have that problem, we would always either all the next three would always be there behind. Like, it's
Yes,
all right, we
yes,
got you. We're holding you like up.
yes,
You know what I
yes.
mean?
Yeah.
So it's definitely something to be appreciative for, because
Yeah, some families
it
don't.
wasn't always like that. I
No.
always felt like dad and Philip used to attack me, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god, I hate this family. But like, then I grew up and I was just like, they actually love me,
Yeah,
like they're
that's how.
trying to, they just don't know how to say it to me,
Yeah.
but I know that they love me. So it was
And
like,
they always got your back
and
no
they
matter
always had
what.
my back. Yeah, like regardless of any situation, Philip always had my back, regardless of how
Always.
many times we would
Yeah.
argue.
And if he's
Um,
gotta yell at dad now when he sees something stupid, he does it too.
yeah, like like
He's like, he'll say, "No, sorry, dad, but you were wrong. Go and apologize."
yeah.
Like the way he does it, you know. But again,
And it's something that you would not expect from Philip. Like
no,
if you
no,
said 10 years ago that
yes,
Philip would be telling Dad that he's wrong to apologize to
yes,
me,
yes.
I would be like, "You're a fucking liar." He would never.
But he
He would
does it.
not. But now it's
But he
like, oh
does.
my, that's my brother. Oh shit, he's
Yeah,
defending me
yeah,
against my father.
yeah,
Before he would have been like, "Yo, beat her ass.
yeah.
Yo, beat if that was me, you would have beat my
You might
ass."
say that now playing, but yes, it's totally different.
Yeah,
And listen, and family is the most important thing. And I feel like a lot of families do get lost
yeah.
along the way,
Unfortunately,
unfortunately. And sometimes, we say, there's some friends that are, more here for us than family.
yeah.
But then I go back to, at the end of the day, honey, it's, again, it's dad,
It's
me,
the
you, and
Fantastic
Philip
Four.
against the world. Yes, like
Yeah,
we're this person. We're like one person.
that's our
And
foundation.
yeah, and that's why I'm saying, like, we're the family, and no matter what, we argue, we fight about things, we don't agree with things, and then we come back, we sit at the table, and I love when we sit at the table and we talk about
Well,
things.
and that's something that you guys also, I would have to say, give you props for, you and Dad, because when it came to dinner time, you guys made sure that phones are away, everything's away, everybody sits at the table, everybody serves themselves a plate, and we sit down, we talk about our
We
day.
talk about
And
it
that's
then.
something that I have to appreciate, because even being, I have a lot of friends, and going over their house and sometimes joining them on their like it's not the same. It was
Yeah,
like serve yourself, go eat wherever you want. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
serve
yeah,
yourself whenever you're hungry. You know what I mean?
yeah.
For us, it was like food's ready, get the table ready, and sit your ass
Sit
down.
that
Like
exactly.
it was like we're gonna talk, and the first thing everybody would say is, "How's your day?"
How was your day?
And
Because
that's something that I have to appreciate, because now I can sit down with Haven,
and you
make
could,
dinner, and I do the same thing. And
yeah,
it's just those little things
and
where
that
she'll
is
be like, "Oh,
important.
mommy, this guy was crying," or "This guy that
Yeah,
this girl helped me with this today," and I'm like, "Oh, see, these are little details that I wouldn't know
if you
if I didn't ask her
didn't
how her
take the
day was."
time, yeah,
I mean, I
yeah,
ask her all the time, but when you sit down, it's just a different feeling when you're at the dinner table. It's
yeah.
like
I agree.
a
And I've always
gathering of,
I've always
yeah.
loved those moments when you guys. Also, I have to say, because it was very special to me in a way, even though I spent most of the day with you guys.
Hmm.
But to me, it was important because it was a way to get Dad involved. Because Dad
Dad was always
was
working.
always working, and I was home with you guys, so I knew a lot of the things that happened, but he didn't.
Yeah.
So it was a way to get him involved, for him to find out, what happened to you at school, what happened to him, how did you guys do about, it was just, yes, and I felt like those moments were very special because that's where we all, like, I don't know, we just showed interest and love. It was just, I don't know, until today, even today, as you guys, you're older, you have your own kids,
Yeah.
but when we sit down for a meal, like yesterday,
Yeah.
for bacalhau com natas, okay, it was just us, and just the sitting down and talking and going over
And
things.
joking around. It's just things that you don't get to see often, and you're
Yeah,
not able to experience if you're not sitting there
exactly,
and feeding that relationship. I feel like that's also
exact.
something that,
Feeding their relationship, that's
exactly,
very important.
like, um I feel like a lot of our growth has come from those dinner talks. And unfortunately we weren't able to do that with Philip for some time because he was away,
Mm-hmm.
for the Navy. So he was missing out on that. But it's like it picked back up. Like as soon
Yeah,
as he got back and things, obviously things got a little rough for him, but he was still feeding that relationship.
yeah,
Like he would come
yeah.
back and feed that just like we are. We sit at that table, we joke around,
Mm-hmm.
we give each other advice even if we don't want it,
Exactly.
right? So many times. But like at the end of the day we come back and we're like, "You know what? You were right the other day."
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, all right, I got to look into this. I got to do something better. But
yeah,
thanks for telling me that. But at
yeah,
the moment, we're like, man, fuck you. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Yes, yes.
but then we come back and we're like, all right,
And
let's feed
this
this relationship and tell you that I know you're right and I accept what you said.
See, and that's why it's important to keep doing it, keep doing it, keep
Yeah.
doing it, because every day that we do it, we learn something about each other. We learn
Yeah.
something about what's out there, and we try to help each other out. And that's very important for me. And It's something that I've always said to everyone that knows me. It's that those moments, you can never get them
Never
back.
get them back.
Those moments kind of help you define who you're going to be in the future.
Yeah.
See, because now you're going to do the same thing to your daughter. Philip does the same thing with his kids. No iPads, no phones at the table. Let's talk. And even the little kids now, you see, when we don't have the iPads and the phones and they get involved
They
in
get
our
so
conversation,
engaged. Yeah.
yes, they do engage. You see, and they're little, but that's how they start.
Yeah.
They engage into our conversation. Look at Chris when we are having the talk the other day. He just went
Yeah.
on and on and on. Like
He loves it
he
though.
talked so
Yeah.
much about himself and about school and his friends and
Yeah.
his girlfriend, blah blah blah.
But I also feel like he doesn't get that at home. So when he comes here, it's kind of like,
He wants to
you know
let
what I
it
mean?
out.
Like he's
Yeah.
just like, oh my god, I gotta tell you guys so much about
Yeah.
school, about this, about
But
that. Like
see,
at
those
least,
dinner
yeah,
times kind of make it happen.
yeah,
So it is special.
it is. I would have to say it's special. It's definitely a family tradition that I'm thankful for because a lot of families didn't come up like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And not to say that they didn't have food or anything, but
No,
like there are
no, it's
families
just
that have cooked,
yeah.
and it's just
Yeah.
like you just don't sit
And
together though. It's
families
the
have
sit
different
together. It's the
schedule.
gathering.
Yes,
It's like
yes. And
families do have different schedules.
yes, and
I
I
do understand
remember
that
there
too.
was something, because the way we always did it at home when I started working in Summit for Dev with the
Mhm.
kids. That was like, to me, was something shocking because to me the kids had to sit at the same time and they
Mhm.
had to eat together and talk.
Mhm.
And if I taught those kids anything, was that. And
Yeah.
I'll never forget the first meal that I sat them down together, and Katie started opening up about her parents' divorce because she didn't understand the time she was young.
Yeah.
And I always made sure that if the three of them were home,
To
then they
sit
would
down and
sit
eat
down and
together.
eat. Even if the mom was, she had to work, she had to maintain the house and the kids. And if she was not around, then they would have to eat together. But if she was around, I made sure that I had dinner ready for them so they could sit and talk as a family.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that one day later they'll do the same to their kids because I know that before I started working there, none of that happened.
Yeah.
And I think even like as brothers and sisters, when you do something like that,
Yeah.
you learn to grow with that person, to love that
And
person,
also
to
you learn about them. There's certain
yes,
things that you learn about your sibling and your family members, like
at those dinner days.
yeah, at those dinner
Hmm.
tables. Like I learned a lot about Philip and Dad and you just sitting there at the table, like stories that have been told that God knows I would have never knew because I would have never
Probably
thought
not.
of to ask. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like you and Dad's history. Most of those things have been undiscovered
At the
over
dinner table.
at the dinner table. Like
Yes, yes,
I
definitely.
remember us just sitting there and something had came up and boom, I got the whole spiel on you and I was just sitting there, finished my meal like, nah, there's no fucking way. Like you're telling me we're sitting here so cordial, so everything, and y'all went through that shit?
Yeah,
I was like, hell no, I would have never thought through that. But then again, I never thought of to ask until we sat down at that table.
yeah,
Like I would have never thought at all to ask any of those questions.
yeah. You see, you find a lot of stuff at the dinner table. Sometimes not proper
We're
things
gonna
at the
rename
dinner
the I'm
table.
gonna rename the podcast from fuck the welcome to the conversation. I'm gonna welcome to the table.
Welcome to the
Come
table.
to
There
the
you
table.
go, to the table.
We're gonna come to the family
Yeah,
table.
maybe next time, a little food on the table and a little more people and have a
Yeah.
little more conversation.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, maybe in the next one what we'll do is we'll put me, you, dad, and Philip and we'll put
Mm.
some food out
Okay.
and we'll just nitpick and just
And just talk about whatever comes to our
talk.
mind. God
Just do
help
what
you
we
all.
do. You God help them all because they are gonna need it.
Yeah,
They're not ready for that one.
but it's interesting.
It is. So if there's any takeaway from today's episode, have dinner with your family, sit down at the same time, and ask them how's their day. Always
That
talk
could
about
open
how's
up
their day.
a world of
Do it for a
conversation.
week straight and see how much your relationships change. Your
Yes.
platonic relationships, your loving relationships, your friendships, anything. Just your children. Go
Your
home,
spouse.
cook dinner, sit at a table together, and just see how everybody's day was.
Yep. You learn a lot,
Yeah.
definitely.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you, Mom, for coming
My
here and
pleasure.
sharing some thoughts. And I'm sure this won't be the last time. Okay, you guys will probably see her again, and we'll get a little bit more into detail about certain things because I know you guys are gonna have questions for me after. But
I'm here to answer anytime. As long as there's wine, I'll be here.
unfortunately, I didn't have my white wine today, but I'll have it for next time. Okay. Um, and yeah, I just want to thank you, and
My pleasure. Had a great time.
thanks for being a great
Thank
mom.
you guys. You're welcome. See you next time.
Bye. I didn't shake my ass today because my mother's here. Okay.